The story commences with the protagonist waking up in a distressed state after having a nightmare. Yerim seeks the aid of his psychiatrist, Choine, to comprehend these vivid and frightening dreams. He recollects that these nightmares have been tormenting him for the last 2 years, frequently involving the death of innocent people and his own demise. This has had an extreme impact on his physical and mental well-being, forcing him to seek professional counseling, hypnosis, and medication, all to no avail. Choine suggests an unconventional approach to tackle these nightmares. She proposes that Yerim should document the specifics of his dreams so that they can collaborate to discover a way to confront and conquer his fears in his dreams. In one of his dreams, they decide to explore a storage room in search of beneficial weapons to assist them in their fight against the zombies. Yerim follows Choine's advice and explores a storage room to look for weapons to help him in his dream world. He stumbles upon a pipe, and with it, he successfully slays his first zombie. Surprisingly, Yerim's nightmares take a positive turn from that moment on. However, Choine soon exhausts her ideas on how to assist Yerim. Upon being asked if he would continue his journey alone in his 100th dream, Yerim responded with a tone of disappointment. Attempting to lighten the mood, Choine proposed they grab lunch. Nevertheless, while eating, they witnessed a customer being attacked by a staff member who bit his neck. To their horror, they observed zombies overwhelming the area outside the restaurant. As if that weren't enough, a zombie caught sight of them and immediately lunged forward to attack. Yerim managed to strike the zombie with a bowl, but he knew it wouldn't be enough to kill it. Quickly thinking on his feet, he snapped a mop. Using the sharpened end, he plunged it into the zombie's head. Choine was taken back and feared that Yerim had just committed murder, but he reassured her that the people they encountered were already zombies, and his nightmares were becoming a reality. The sudden explosion of a nearby gas station only reinforced Yerim's belief that the zombies would soon overrun the artisan village and ultimately, the world. Realizing that his 99 nightmares would ultimately result in the downfall of humanity, Yerim stumbled upon a system message instructing him to eradicate all zombies on Earth. Additionally, he received a quest to safeguard Choine and transport her to his house in less than 3 hours, with the reward being the transmission skill. Despite his nerves, Yerim accepted the challenge, hoping to change the future that seemed bleak. When Choine noticed Yerim pointing at nothing, she asked about his well-being, but he made an excuse, knowing he was the only one who could see the quest window. He also remembered that he deliberately left out the fact that Choine would transform into a zombie in his dreams. As the zombies started to invade the restaurant, Yerim and Choine fled to the storage room. After catching their breath, Yerim grabbed a chain and wrapped it around his arms, telling Choine that they would fight the zombies until they reached his house. When Yerim opened the door, the zombies charged towards him, but he reacted quickly and used the chains as a whip to attack them. To his surprise, Yerim felt comfortable using the chains, possibly because of his prior encounters with the same scenario in his dreams. Yerim effortlessly dispatched most of the zombies in his vicinity, easily redirecting the chain with a swift kick. But when another group of the undead closed in, Yerim knew it was time to flee. After a harrowing escape, they finally reached Yerim's home, where an exhausted Choine collapsed to her knees. A message notified Yerim that he had completed the quest, earning him the transmission skill, which he could learn from an expert. Confused but curious, Yerim received another message informing him that he could learn the skill from someone who favored him. Taking advantage of this, he used the skill on Choine and received the mental care skill, which allowed him to heal someone's spirit. Impressed with the usefulness of the mental care skill, Yerim found it to be highly effective. When Choine started to crumble from the recent events they had just encountered, Yerim used the skill to calm her down, and it had a positive effect on her outlook. Recognizing the abundance of skilled professionals with a wealth of life experience, Yerim made the decision to learn new skills from them. 6 months prior, he had been plagued by 10 consecutive nightmares, leaving him looking unwell. Fortunately, 2 village elders, young Yungchun, a skilled wood carpenter, and Park Dalbong, a master of martial arts, had provided him with medicine to aid in his recovery. Their kindness had left a lasting impression on Yerim. Now, determined to repay the elders, Yerim set out on a mission to save them from the zombie horde. Despite Choine's apprehension, Yerim climbed onto a motorcycle, assuring her that he would not fall prey to the zombies. With her reluctant approval, he embarked on his quest. Elder Yongchun was hiding in a room, teeming with zombies when one of them detected him and lunged to bite him. Luckily, Dalbong appeared just in time and delivered a powerful blow that killed the zombie. More zombies emerged, but Dalbong was prepared to battle them. As Yerim raced to the scene, he trusted that the martial arts master, Dalbong, would easily dispatch the zombies. Yerim was anxious since his dreams had always ended with the elder's demise. He quickened his pace, praying that he would arrive in time. Dalbong effortlessly defeated the zombies with his bare hands, while Elder Yongchun applauded him and regretted not learning martial arts. Suddenly, a colossal zombie appeared, surprising the two elders. It picked up a smaller zombie and devoured it. Dalbong launched an attack using his martial arts, landing several blows, but the giant zombie shrugged them off and grappled with Dalbong, exacerbating his back issues and causing him to collapse. The giant zombie prepared to finish off Dalbong, but Yerim arrived and halted its assault with his chains. Yerim recognized the two factors that led to the elder's death in his dreams: Dalbong's back problems and the giant zombie. After telling the two elders to run, Yongchun helped Dalbong escape while the giant zombie targeted Yerim. Despite the creature's immense size, Yerim was able to dodge its attacks with ease. However, Dalbong warned him that this zombie was different and urged him to flee. Yerim, on the other hand, remained confident and pointed to a nearby motorcycle, indicating that they could use it to escape. The elders were hesitant to leave, but Yerim was soon given a message that a master with a unique skill had favored him. As the creatures closed in, Yerim used his transmission skill on Dalbong and then executed the Josian Reiner martial arts technique. He leapt into the air and landed like a meteor, crushing the giant zombie and sending the other zombies flying. The two elders were amazed by Yerim's skill, and he himself was thrilled to have unlocked the first door to the Josian heavenly demon martial art. Dalbong was baffled by Yerim's proficiency in wielding such an overwhelming technique. In a surprising turn of events, Yerim also obtained a passive skill, Josian Heavenly Heart Control, which heightened his body awareness and allowed him to access mana. The experience felt akin to a game, and Yerim's movements became more agile and precise. Although he was pleased with his decision to save the elders, his joy was brief as the giant zombie, who he thought was defeated, revived and attacked him once again. With swift movements, Yerim dodged the monster's attack and immediately instructed the elders to seek refuge at his house, where Choine resided. Though hesitant, the elders eventually complied with his order and left, cautioning Yerim to be careful. Armed with chains, Yerim confronted the giant zombie, but his weapons were easily shattered by the creature. Enraged, Yerim unleashed a powerful knee strike to the monster's face and readied himself for a brutal attack, covering his fists with his remaining chains. Meanwhile, Choine anxiously awaited Jerome's return, and the sound of a motorcycle outside prompted her to rush to the door. However, she was met only by the two elders who had been rescued by Yerim. They explained that Yerim had stayed behind to battle the zombies alone after rescuing them. As Yerim continued his fight against the giant zombie, he landed a powerful kick that knocked it to the ground. Despite this, the monster stood up and attacked once again. Charging mana into his fist, Yerim dealt a final blow that obliterated the zombie's body. As he surveyed the aftermath, he noticed a red gem on the zombie's head, which he picked up. A notification popped up, revealing that a red magic stone had the power to boost a person's level. While the group was glued to the news, they discovered that the government had declared a national disaster due to the ongoing zombie epidemic. After Yerim's safe return, they reprimanded him for endangering himself, but the elders were thrilled to see him back unharmed. Suddenly, a message surfaced declaring that an expert had taken an interest in Yerim, opening the possibility of transferring skills to him. The expert turned out to be Yongchun, and Yerim's new skill was wooden architecture. With the help of the transfer skill, Yerim gained the power to construct structures and buildings using mana. Dalbong was inquisitive about how Yerim had learned the heavenly demon martial art. Yerim revealed that it was his own skill, demonstrated it by building a wall of wooden poles around the house. Everyone was amazed when Yongchun inspected the wood and found it to be incredibly sturdy and long-lasting, resembling metal. Yerim then disclosed that he had actually acquired the skill from Yongchun. With his transmission skill, Dalbong suddenly understood how Yerim had gained knowledge of the heavenly demon martial arts. He remembered his own struggles in finding a worthy successor for the art, which could only be learned by true prodigies. Finally, his granddaughter Isao had emerged as a natural talent and had become his successor. However, even she couldn't match Yerem's overwhelming power. Dalbong was convinced that Yerem was a genius capable of saving the world, impressed by his incredible abilities. Unfortunately, Yerem had depleted his mana through excessive use of his skills and collapsed, triggering a message indicating that he was entering a forced rest mode to recover his mana. When he woke up in his room, Yerem realized the dangers of having his mana depleted during a zombie fight. Choine paid a visit to Yerem in his room and extended an invitation to join the group for an outdoor barbecue where the elders were cooking. Despite feeling apprehensive due to the presence of zombies, Yerem ultimately agreed after Yongchun reassured him that the wooden barricade was impenetrable. During the meal, Yerem was struck by how different the experience was from his previous nightmares, feeling as though he was in a healing camp rather than a hellish nightmare. However, the army was struggling to hold back the relentless wave of zombies and urgently requested support as the zombies closed in on the artisan village. The following morning, Yerem discovered a message congratulating him on successfully completing a hidden quest to rescue 3 professors on the first night of the outbreak.
As a reward, he gained the analysis skill, which enabled him to gather information about a target using his mana. He used the skill to learn about the occupation and abilities of Choine and the elders, and he also wondered if the red gemstone he possessed could be used to enhance items. Choine approached Yerem and inquired about the gemstone, and he explained his theory that it was a catalyst for enhancing people or objects. Yerem decided to put his theory to the test and ventured out into town to confront the oncoming zombie horde, knowing that this was only the beginning of the real crisis. As he contemplated the spider-like zombies from his nightmares, he was abruptly interrupted by an explosion, indicating the zombie horde was nearby. In the meantime, the army had set up a roadblock, with the commanding officer ordering the capture of the black monster in the hope of earning a promotion. When the zombies arrived, the army opened fire, managing to eliminate them successfully. The officer was pleased with the result until a spider-like zombie appeared and destroyed one of their tanks. The soldiers' attempts to attack the creature were futile, and even the tank was unable to keep up with the zombie's speed as it toppled more tanks. As more giant and frog-like zombies appeared, the soldiers began losing hope, and Yerem observed their demise. He realized that the zombies were moving too quickly and that his nightmare and reality differed. The number of zombie variants had increased from the previously noted 5 to 10, including a spider-like zombie that had already appeared. Yerem estimated the number of zombies roughly and understood that the Josian Reiner, a powerful skill, consumed too much mana. To conserve his mana, Yerem devised a plan to use the fireworks intended for the upcoming festival as a distraction. Upon arriving at the boat, he located the fireworks and seized the remote detonator. Upon arriving in town, Yerem utilized a magic stone to augment the conductivity of his chains, granting it the unique ability of separation. Satisfied with the outcome, he opted to test his newfound skill. However, he soon became aware of a swarm of zombies closing in on the town. To buy himself some time, Yerem set off fireworks, diverting the zombies' attention. With the horde preoccupied, Yerem swiftly launched his assault. He swiftly disposed of a colossal zombie before confronting 2 frog-like zombies that attacked him with their tongues. Yerem blocked their attacks with his wood construction skill and then lashed out at them with his chains, dispatching them with ease. Subsequently, Yerem acquired 3 magic stones from the zombies to enhance his chain. Despite being surrounded by more zombies, Yerem maintained his composure and concentration. Meanwhile, a spider-like zombie discovered the boat housing the fireworks and tipped it over. Suddenly, the zombie caught a scent and jumped towards the village, where it spotted Yerem, who confidently smiled while using another magic stone to further amplify his chain. Having reached the limit of its strengthening, Yerem upgraded his chain to the Chain of Flames, which had a special ability called Fireworks. Upon activating the ability, his chains were engulfed in flames. Meanwhile, Sebastian Kim received a letter via his pet bird, warning him of the zombie infestation in the village and advising him to be cautious. Relieved that the sender was still alive, he couldn't help but worry about the safety of the conservationist community. As Sebastian pondered, he noticed fireworks in the distance and wondered if the zombies were responsible. In that moment, his pet flying fox Hanel signaled him to investigate the source of the fireworks. Though hesitant at first, Sebastian trusted Hanel's instincts after the fox had previously saved his life by warning him about the zombies. As the spider-like zombie lunged towards Yerem, he swiftly dodged and counterattacked, pushing it back. Recognizing the creature's next move as the poisonous spider web, Yerem prepared for the imminent attack by charging his mana and unleashing the might of the fireworks, incinerating both the spider zombie and its poisonous web. However, the call of the spider zombie summoned its cohorts to surround Yerem, but he remained undaunted. Jerome fused his chains and fought back against the zombies, deftly evading the spider zombie's attempts to leap onto him. Yerem skillfully utilized his chains to sever the legs of the spider zombie and reduce it to ashes. Meanwhile, Sebastian arrived at the village and was taken aback by the absence of zombies. He then witnessed an explosion in the distance and made his way towards it. There, he witnessed Yerem triumphantly standing over the blazing remnants of the spider zombie, awestruck by the young man's impressive abilities. Yerem recounted his battle with the zombies and asked about the professor's presence. Sebastian was skeptical of Yerem's ability to take on all the zombies alone. Suddenly, Hannah spotted an object falling towards the village, prompting Yerem to insist they escape on his motorcycle. The falling object was unlike anything Yerem had ever seen, even in his dreams. During their escape, they crashed after the meteor hit the ground, revealing a strange purple substance covering the area. Yerem examined the zombies covered in the substance and discovered their incredible resilience. His physical attacks were ineffective, and they were resistant to fire, even regenerating after being destroyed. However, the zombies were unable to cross the purple substance, providing a temporary safe zone. Yerem decided to regroup and take Sebastian to his house to plan their next move. Arriving at Yerem's house, Sebastian was stunned by the wooden barricade encircling the property. Upon entering, they were welcomed by the elders, but Yerem intervened and informed them about the meteor and the purple substance it had left behind. Youngchun voiced concerns about the survivors and their depleting food stores. Sebastian suggested using his crows to transport food to the survivors, but they were still at his own house. Yerem proposed that they save the crows first, reducing the time needed to rescue the rest of the village experts. However, penetrating the horde of purple zombies appeared impossible. Turning his attention to the remaining magic stones, Yerem distributed them to the group, allowing them to awaken their special abilities like he had. As the group followed the instructions to awaken, Yerem explained how the magic stones could activate their unique abilities. The group utilized the stones, and Dalbong felt the changes, testing his enhanced strength by punching the ground. Despite his lingering back problem, he was content with the results. In the meantime, Youngchun utilized his talent to construct a tiny abode and figurines, while Choine discovered her ability to perceive people's emotions and employed her expertise in mental care to assist Yerem in overcoming his embarrassment. As Yerem observed that the specialists in the artisan village lacked a ranking system, he questioned whether there was any difference in their innate abilities. To mitigate the risks of traveling on the treacherous ground, Sebastian proposed that they use the sky as a mode of transportation. While Youngchun reinforced the walls, Dalbong and Yerem persisted in their training, with Dalbong praising Yerem's performance as his apprentice. Later, Hannah arrived with Sebastian, and Yerem reflected on the skills he had acquired over the last 2 days. These included the Josian Heavenly Demon martial arts from Dalbong, animal communication of F rank from Sebastian, and wingsuit from Hannah. Utilizing his wooden structure skill to the fullest, Yerem elevated them high above the ground. Sebastian caught sight of his house and with their wingsuit skill, they soared towards it. Along the way, they witnessed zombies gathering corpses while a purple substance assimilated the remains to create a new type of zombie. Yerem fretted over whether the spider-like zombie would be affected too. Upon landing at Sebastian's house, they unleashed a flock of crows. Using a skill taught to him by the birds, Sebastian sprouted wings from his back. As they departed, eroded zombies below caught sight of them and attacked by elongating their arms. Yerem fended them off, instructing Sebastian to carry on while he kept the zombies at bay. Yerem used his chains to intercept and sever the zombie attacks as he fell from the sky. When he landed, he used the Josian Reiner to defeat the zombies. However, his victory was short-lived as an armored zombie swung a hammer at him. Yerem dodged the attack and counterattacked with his chains, but it was futile. He soon realized that the zombies he had defeated earlier had reanimated. Seeking safety, Yerem climbed up a nearby building. Meanwhile, the armored zombie transformed its arm into a cannon, loaded a zombie into it, and fired the projectile at Yerem. Unable to match the zombie's strength, Yerem decided to retreat. While taking a break, he noticed a building unaffected by the purple substance and was intrigued. He made up his mind to investigate it. Upon arriving at the house, Yerem heard a faint melody and suspected that it was the reason for the infected land's containment. He encountered a visibly anxious man and used his mental care skill to calm him down. Yerem gave the man some food, and he introduced himself as Ryu Dongtak, a professor of acoustics. Yerem reciprocated the introduction and asked about the music. Dongtak was surprised because it was a sound that the human ear could not detect. He explained that it was a low-frequency sound he had created and installed, which was responsible for shielding the area. Yerem was offered the sound file, which he contemplated using against the armored zombie. Meanwhile, Sebastian briefed the others on recent events upon arriving at the dwelling. Although Dalbong wanted to help Yerem, his comrades convinced him otherwise and instead, they decided to watch the area and provide provisions to survivors. Choine suggested finding a formidable fighter, and Dalbong recommended his granddaughter, who he believed had survived and awakened in a different town. Sebastian dispatched his crows to search for her. The crows arrived at Dongtak's house with food. Dongtak asked to join Yerem's team, and Yerem agreed. Yerem gained the acoustic skill through the transmission skill and used it to enhance his chain's power, giving him confidence to face the eroded zombies. He communicated with a cat using his animal communication skill and discovered that his wingsuit skill had turned into agile movement. After testing his new abilities, Yerem surprised Dongtak with his increased speed. When Yerem suggested they leave, Dongtak proposed staying and asking for supplies instead of burdening Yerem with escorting him through infected land. Yerem revealed that his numerous nightmares had led him to accumulate a vast array of survival necessities. Once he set out, he was able to effortlessly vanquish the decaying zombies with his newly acquired skills. However, tentacles suddenly appeared and attacked, but Yerem promptly disposed of them before continuing on his quest. Soon enough, the zombies stopped coming, leaving a plethora of magic stones scattered on the ground. A notification appeared, informing Yerem that he was the first person to successfully hunt infected zombies, and as a result, he had earned a reward of 10 kilograms of inventory. Yerem was pleased with his achievement, and a small bag materialized to collect the magic stones. While he was gathering them, an armored zombie made an appearance. Yerem used the orange magic stone to upgrade his chain of flames to a chain of blue flame, which granted him the special ability of the blue flame dragon. Yerem then attacked the armored zombie with the blue flame dragon, deflecting its attack and causing significant damage. However, the armored zombie fought back by spitting a purple substance at Yerem, which he barely avoided. The substance had corrosive effects that could be seen as it disintegrated a car nearby. As the armored zombie absorbed the surrounding purple land, its appearance underwent a transformation. Yerem struggled to block the lightning-fast attacks the zombie launched at him. Despite the difficulty, Yerem was driven by the anticipation of the rewards he would receive after defeating the armored zombie. Little did he know, a group was observing the fight and planning to ambush and rob him. The group's leader was thrilled by the potential of acquiring magic stones from a powerful opponent like Yerem. After witnessing Yerem's successful defeat of the armored zombie, the group spotted an additional magic stone beside the red one. Meanwhile, Yerem received notification that he had hunted the world's first mutant zombie, granting him the area proclamation skill. With this new ability, Yerem could designate a specific area as his residence, providing special effects to his allies within that area. As the group approached, he immediately recognized Slaughter Park Hunsung as their leader and was taken back. Yerem assumed they were stranded in the village due to the meteorite but knew Hunsung's true nature as a psychopathic killer who reveled in others' suffering, something he had seen in his nightmares. Despite Hunsung's positive public image as a businessman, Yerem knew he tortured and executed those who opposed him. With this in mind, Yerem made the decision to eliminate Hunsung before he could establish himself in the area. He used his analytical skills to gather information on the group and found that they acquired their magic stones by killing people. Hunsung proposed a partnership with Yerem, offering him food in exchange for his assistant. He then informs Yerem that they use a mart as their base camp, and it well stocked with supplies and numerous individuals, but they were disrupted by the sudden appearance of tentacles and eroded zombies. Despite the danger, Hunsung urged the group to press on, and Yerim aided in fighting off the zombies. During the fight, Hunsung secretly planned to attack Yerim when he lowered his guard, while Jerome contemplated how to eliminate Hunsung. Despite this, Yerim focused on helping the group fend off the zombies, while Hunsung used his fear ability to immobilize them before finishing them off. After a grueling battle, they finally arrived at the base camp, exhausted and relieved. Hunsung introduced himself to Yerim, who reciprocated the gesture and inquired about the individual tied up in the room. Using his analysis skills, Yerim determined that the captive was an ordinary person. Yerim then questioned why they had restrained the man, arguing that it was a waste since he could have been valuable for a magic stone. Hunsung laughed, believing that Yerim enjoyed killing people just like he did. Nevertheless, he disclosed his initial plan to kill Yerim, but later changed his mind upon seeing their similarities. He then proposed that they team up to construct a better world. Yerim inwardly grinned, satisfied that his ploy had succeeded, and shook hands with Hunsung as a notification popped up, indicating that the fear ability was now obtainable. Yerim utilized his transmit skill to acquire it, granting him the power to instill fear in his adversaries. Hunsung inquired about Yerim's abilities and was convinced after hearing about his nimble movements. When Hunsung mentioned flaming chains, Yerim explained how to enhance weapons with magical stones and inquired about the rest of the group's skills. Hunsung replied that the others had none, prompting Yerim to question if he was telling the truth. Yerim deduced that regular individuals did not acquire skills after awakening, which explained why they had not used any during their encounter with the zombies. Suddenly, they noticed that zombies that could exit the infected area had infiltrated their stronghold. Hunsung employed the fear ability to eliminate them, and they realized that they were now encircled. Yerim utilized his wood construction skill to block the group outside the infected area, wishing them luck. Hunsung was enraged when he realized that Yerim had deceived him, particularly when the zombies closed in on them. In a fit of anger, Hunsung attacked, leaving the other two individuals to perish. Despite being held back by zombies, he persevered with a fierce determination to have his revenge on Yerim. He refused to die until he had fulfilled his quest for revenge. In a bold move, he devoured one of the zombies, transforming himself into a monster. Meanwhile, Yerim had come to the aid of a captive man, but the man was initially apprehensive of him. Yerim used his exceptional mental care skills to soothe the man's fears. The man warned Yerim of the danger lurking around them, explaining that they were in the midst of a killer's lair. He also revealed the existence of dead bodies concealed in boxes nearby. Yerim reassured the man that he was there to save him and handed him a magical stone. Initially wary, the man sensed no negative energy emanating from the stone and began to trust Yerim. Yerim disclosed that he had acquired the stone by slaying zombies. Upon using the stone, the man discovered that he had gained a skill enabling him to create a dish with unique properties. This confirmed Yerim's belief that every person, except ordinary people, has a skill. Upon awakening, the man introduced himself as Sung Hamin. Yerim instructed him to collect supplies before departing, aware that safeguarding Hamin would be a formidable challenge once they left the area. Therefore, he decided to use the magical stones. He upgraded his transmission skill, which boosted his mana and enabled him to enhance other skills obtained through transmission. In addition, he improved his analysis ability, granting him the power to predict his target's movements. Upon returning with a dish he had prepared, Hamin offered it to Yerim, who found it delicious and noticed a 20% stat increase for 3 hours. Hamin informed Yerim of a blocked door, but Yerim suggested an alternate route. Yerim proceeded to create a hole in the floor leading to a drainage system. Suddenly, the wall in front of them was demolished, and the monster Hunsung emerged. Upon seeing Yerim, Hunsung immediately used fear. Shocked, Hamin required calming down, which Yerim achieved using his mental care skill, instructing Hamin to return to the mart. Yerim then prepared for battle, activating his skills. Hunsung attacked, but Yerim, using his skill to predict his movements, was able to dodge and counterattack, sending Hunsung flying. Hunsung once again instilled fear in Yerim, who received a message that he could upgrade his fear skill by reaching 100% apprehension. Predicting Hunsung's attack from behind, Yerim blocked it with a punch, sending him to the ground. The other two heads of Hunsung were frightened and he swiftly cut them off and devoured them, transforming into a monstrous form. Hunsung then used a fear skill, increasing Yerim's apprehension to 83%. He charged at Yerim, but Yerim defended easily, pushing the apprehension level to 100% and upgrading his fear skill. With his enhanced fear, Yerim unleashed a barrage of attacks on Hunsung, causing him to cower in terror. Yerim used his chain to tear off one of Hunsung's arms, but he managed to flee, leaving behind an orange magic stone. After the encounter, Yerim called Hamin and together they went to Dongtak's place where they were welcomed by Dongtak. Yerim explained his situation, being chased by zombies and seeking shelter. Hamin expressed gratitude, and Yerim noticed a message mentioning the use of transmission skill, which allowed him to acquire the cooking skill. He then pondered whether cocktails could be considered as dishes and proceeded to make one that could boost stamina when consumed for 10 minutes. In the meantime, Hunsung relentlessly killed and devoured zombies in his pursuit of Yerim. Suddenly, a powerful monster appeared and subdued all the zombies in the vicinity, causing them to kneel. The creature then captured the zombies, revealing herself to be Park Yiseo, the general master of the Joseon Heavenly Martial Arts Dojo. Since childhood, Yiseo had a strong aversion towards injustice and dedicated herself to fighting against it. She stood up to bullies and trained with her grandfather, motivated by her desire to protect everyone. Becoming the master of the dojo at the young age of 17, she propagated her beliefs with great sincerity. She intervened when she saw a student being bullied and beaten up, rescuing him and bringing him to the dojo to train. After a year, that same student became a defender, protecting others from bullies. Over time, more people joined her cause until the zombie apocalypse hit. Yiseo and her followers bravely fought against the zombies, but eventually exhaustion caught up with her. She was on the brink of being killed by a zombie when one of her followers sacrificed himself to save her, blocking the attack. Driven by rage, she killed the zombie, but was devastated by the loss of her follower who had thanked her for saving him. While Yiseo's group managed to rescue many people, they also suffered significant losses. One fateful night, a meteor slammed into their dojo, and as her followers shielded her, they were infected by a strange purple substance. Despite their efforts to save her, Yiseo too succumbed to the substance and transformed into a monstrous creature that devoured the captured zombies. Meanwhile, Yerim was puzzled by the sudden disappearance of the corroded zombies. Soon after, a message appeared announcing the death of Park Hunsung. Yerim was left confused when an emergency quest was activated, instructing them to prevent the Queen's perfect transformation within 5 hours. However, Sebastian arrived and shocked Yerim by informing him of Yiseo's transformation into a monster. Upon discovering Yiseo's location, Dalbong swiftly made his way there, prompting Yerim to ask Sebastian to inform the others before following him. Upon arrival, they were met with the sight of a cocoon, which Yerim analyzed and determined to contain a queen's seed that would permanently prevent Yiseo from transforming back into her human form once hatched. In order to save her, Yerim attempted to sever the tubes holding the cocoon, but his efforts were ineffective. It was then that Dalbong revealed a technique that he could only use once, and instructed Yerim to watch as he put it into action. During Dalbong's attack, Yerim analyzed the situation and found that the attack had a similar effect to acoustics. Despite the successful destruction of one of the tubes, Yerim surprised Dalbong by using acoustics to deal significant damage to the cocoon. Undeterred, Yerim continued his assault and successfully completed the quest, earning the opportunity to claim an area. However, the celebration was short-lived as Yiseo emerged from the destroyed seed, and a new quest materialized, requiring them to subdue the queen. Upon opening her eyes, a warning message prompted Yerim to flee as a purple substance began to spread. Yerim acted quickly, urging Dalbong to run to safety while he activated his agile movement skill. Despite his efforts, Yiseo caught up to Yerim and attacked him. Yerim attempted to use fear, but his opponent's rank was too high, rendering it ineffective. he then tried to use the blue flame dragon and acoustic skills to attack Yiseo, but to no avail. Yiseo's powerful kick sent Yerim flying, causing him to crash into a rock and sustain injuries. Yerim attempted to trap Yiseo using his wooden construction skill, but she effortlessly destroyed it. In a bid to escape, Yerim fled to his house. Yerim was aware that he could still reverse the situation. He utilized the area proclamation skill to fend off Yiseo's attacks successfully. Upon activating the skill, a message appeared, prompting him to designate a combatant. Yerim chose himself, which led to a boost in his power. Despite this, Yiseo shattered the barrier. In response, Yerim combined the Joseon Reiner and wooden construction skills to summon a colossal wooden foot. However, Yiseo managed to halt and destroy the construct. Yerim persisted in his assault, skillfully deflecting Yiseo's tentacles and employing his expertise in wooden architecture to ensnare her. He swiftly maneuvered to her rear and delivered a forceful strike that momentarily drove her back, but she swiftly regained her footing. With his analysis skill, Yerim identified a nucleus located in Yiseo's chest that must be eliminated to bring down the queen. Nevertheless, Yiseo's formidable Joseon martial arts skills posed a considerable challenge for Yerim to overcome. Utilizing his wooden architecture skills, Yerim was able to catch Yiseo and slam her to the ground, weakening the nucleus's durability. He then launched an attack, but Yiseo evaded it. Foreseeing her next move, Yerim anticipated her aim for his chest and swiftly adjusted his body to dodge the attack. Despite Yiseo's relentless flurry of attacks, Yerim struggled to keep up as they exchanged blows, forcing them both back. Despite the difficulty, they resumed their clash. Choine's anxiety heightened while Dalbong felt compelled to intervene. Memories of his past obsession with martial arts flooded back, where he had been selfish and driven by arrogance, leading him to push away his son whom he believed lacked any talent in the field. But fate intervened when he learned of an accident that left Yiseo orphaned, and he was suddenly thrust into the role of caring for her. Despite having no prior experience, Yiseo had grown into a compassionate person who filled him with pride and had become his sole source of treasure in the world. Dalbong instructed Youngchun to convey his love to Yiseo once she regained consciousness before preparing to sacrifice himself to save her. Meanwhile, Yerim was struggling in the fight against Yiseo, who delivered a powerful kick and attack that he couldn't avoid. Just in the nick of time, Dalbong arrived and intercepted Yiseo, pushing her back with his own attack. He then urged Yerim to pay attention and learn as he demonstrated the true power of the Joseon Heavenly Demon martial arts. As he readied himself for the final battle of his life, Dalbong charged towards Yiseo and landed a punch that pushed her back. Yiseo launched an attack that surrounded Dalbong, but he effortlessly dismantled it and materialized behind her to execute an axe kick. Although Yiseo erected a barrier to block the attack, she still plummeted to the ground. Dalbong relentlessly launched multiple attacks to break through the barrier and reminded Yiseo of her true identity. Eventually, one of his attacks shattered the barrier. In the midst of the intense battle, Dalbong seized Yiseo and targeted the nucleus on her chest. Despite their combined efforts, Yiseo remained upright and summoned a monster to consume Dalbong. Nevertheless, Dalbong triumphantly obliterated the monster. Yiseo responded by launching an attack on him, pushing him back and delivering several blows. Yerim then joined in the fight, launching an attack of his own, but Yiseo effortlessly dodged it. The three of them continued to clash, with Dalbong and Yerim attacking as a team, only to be struck by Yiseo's attacks. As Yiseo prepared to deliver a final blow to Dalbong, he called out to her, reminding her of her grandfather, and causing her to pause. Yiseo's moment of hesitation provided Dalbong with the opportunity to strike with all his might, causing damage to the nucleus. Yerim then followed up with multiple attacks that shattered the nucleus. Yerim, despite successfully completing their quest, collapsed from exhaustion due to the excessive use of his skills. The battle had taken a toll on him, and he caught a glimpse of Dalbong on the ground as he faded into unconsciousness. However, before losing consciousness, he received a message about their reward for their incredible achievement. Upon waking up, Yerim learned that he had been granted a special skill called skill synthesis as a reward for his achievements. This skill allowed him to combine two skills to create a temporary special skill. Choine arrived and informed Yerim that they were in the newly built hospital. Choine showed him the changes that had been made to their base through the window. Yerim was surprised to learn from Choine that he had been unconscious for a whole month. Shortly after, a doctor arrived and addressed Yerim as the leader, praising him for saving numerous lives while sustaining serious injuries when defending the village. The doctor employed his healing skills to treat Yerim and informed him that he would be able to walk again after a week of treatment. Suddenly, a message appeared, notifying Yerim that a skill could be transferred. He then utilized the transmission skill to acquire the medicine skill. Yerim then used the skill synthesis method by combining the transmission skill with acoustics, which resulted in the creation of a new skill called healing sound, which he used as his body recovered. Choine then showed Yerim around their compound, introducing him to the people he had saved, who now regarded him as their leader. Yerim inquired about Dalbong and Yiseo, and they led him to another ward where they were being treated. The doctor informed Yerim that Dalbong had sustained severe spinal injuries and may never walk again, while Yiseo remained unconscious, and they suspected that her mind had been significantly impacted. Choine then utilized her expertise to transport them into Yiseo's mind, where Yerim witnessed a specialist providing mental care. A notification popped up indicating that Yerim's mental care skill had been enhanced. Choine pointed towards a black sphere, clarifying that it symbolized her mind. In her endeavor to penetrate it had failed. She stressed the importance of saving Yiseo before her mental condition worsened. Yerim combined mental care and fear to develop the ability mental pressure, which he employed to break the orb and infiltrate Yiseo's mind. In there, Yiseo was grappling with her past trauma materialized as her followers and grandfather. Despite almost succumbing, Yerim arrived and employed his analytical abilities to identify Yiseo's enemies as her own fears, and advised her to overcome them independently. He reassured her that she was not at fault and that regarding her companions as monsters would be an injustice to their memory. With this newly gained clarity, Yiseo was able to confront her fears, and Yerim employed his skills in mental care to aid her in healing. Yiseo apologized, bowing to her comrades, and attacked, shattering her fears and trauma. As the images of her followers cheered her on, she then thanked Yerim for helping her and they both left. She woke up and immediately came to Dalbong's side, full of guilt, but Dalbong comforted her. Yiseo apologized to Dalbong and they had a heart-to-heart conversation later. Choine gave Yiseo the record of Jeremy's nightmares. Choine then approached Yerim and explained that they lacked magic stones as some were used to upgrade the generator's efficiency. Yerim decided to go out and collect magic stones and Yiseo joined him. However, they were confronted by zombies and Yiseo used her martial arts skills to defeat them easily. Surprising Yerim as they explored the area, they found writing on the walls, indicating that S.H.I.E.L.D. had already reached the location.
S.H.I.E.L.D. was founded by the renowned actor Lee Sang-kyol to offer aid and support to those in need by bringing together a group of people through his reputation and contacts. However, over time, the group developed a social hierarchy, which resulted in the exploitation of lower-ranked members by those in power who also monopolized the resources. They even went as far as conducting experiments on humans. When Izao questioned the morality of S.H.I.E.L.D., J-Rim was unsure and decided to investigate the matter himself. To accomplish his mission, J-Rim used magical stones to upgrade his motorbike, making it quieter and capable of stealth. With these enhancements, he snuck past the S.H.I.E.L.D. blockade undetected and arrived at a gathering of people at a compound. The propaganda director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Kim Hyun-sik, expressed his appreciation to their supporters. J-Rim used his analysis ability on Hyun-sik, who had mixed creature attributes, leading him to suspect that someone was pulling the strings behind the group. As a result, he decided to postpone taking any action for the time being. J-Rim told Izao that S.H.I.E.L.D. may be carrying out experiments by injecting zombie blood into weaker individuals from the lower class who are ineffective in combat. He advised gathering as much information as possible on S.H.I.E.L.D. Meanwhile, S.H.I.E.L.D. members were under attack from zombies and struggling to defend themselves. Their formation was destroyed by giant zombies, and some were captured by frog zombies. J-Rim and Izao arrived on the scene and started eliminating the zombies, eventually rescuing the group. J-Rim clarified that they had arrived at the location after spotting a message on the wall regarding S.H.I.E.L.D. Upon being informed of the situation, Hyung-sik deemed the members of S.H.I.E.L.D. incompetent. He proceeded to share that 2 powerful awakeners had saved the group, making him cautious about their intentions. Hyung-sik then decided to meet with Jae-rim and Izao, arriving with 2 men and introducing himself. Using his analysis skill, Jae-rim discovered that they were all human magic stone eaters and mixed creatures. Hyung-sik recognized Izao as the master of the Joseon martial arts dojo and inquired about their reasons for coming to S.H.I.E.L.D. Jae-rim explained that they were motivated to protect people and had noticed S.H.I.E.L.D.'s efforts to save individuals with similar goals. Hyung-sik believed that they could be valuable assets and suggested that they join their vigilante squad, accumulate achievements, and gain entry to paradise. However, Jae-rim declined the offer, reiterating that their sole purpose was to protect people. Hyung-sik then proposed a spot for them in Squad 3, but Jae-rim, having witnessed the skill level of the group they had rescued, believed that he and Izao were sufficient and criticized the group for being clumsy. One of the leaders became angry, but Hyung-sik managed to defuse the situation and ultimately agreed to create a special squad dedicated to Jae-rim and Izao. After Jae-rim and Izao left, the 2 leaders criticized their behavior, prompting Hyung-sik to test their skills. He instructed the leaders to confront Jae-rim and Izao to evaluate their abilities. Outside, Jae-rim explained to Izao that acting as heroes would be less suspicious and the quickest way to earn the leaders' trust. He advised her to prepare herself as the leaders, accompanied by a group of awakeners, arrived. The leaders demanded that they prove their strength, but Izao scoffed at them, declaring that she alone was capable of handling them. This angered the group, leading them to attack her. However, she easily defeated them, stunning the leaders. She dismissed them as weaklings and proclaimed that Jae-rim was even more powerful than her. She challenged the leaders to a battle, but Hyung-sik intervened and scolded them for attacking Izao. He apologized to Jae-rim and Izao. Before departing, Jae-rim realized that Hyung-sik was pretending and called him shameless. Hyung-sik was pleased and saw an opportunity to use and take advantage of Jae-rim and Izao. A week later, after joining S.H.I.E.L.D., Izao was busy training individuals while Jae-rim was cooking food. They had both found their respective roles and were blending in well with the people. During this time, Jae-rim met a young girl named Yerim and noticed something special about her. As Yerim thanked him for the food, a message appeared that allowed him to acquire the magical girl skill, which allowed him to use mana to make dreams come true. This left Jae-rim feeling confused. Meanwhile, Hyung-sik received information that Jae-rim and Izao had captured the hearts of the people within a week by providing food and teaching martial arts. Hyung-sik then inquired about the power plant and was informed that it was a dangerous location that they had been monitoring. Hyung-sik saw this as an opportunity to test if Jae-rim and Izao were genuine heroes or just talk. Thus, he decided to send them to the power plant. When Hyung-sik met with Jae-rim and Izao, he thanked them for helping the people and then requested a favor from them. Jae-rim and Izao were tasked with eliminating the terrifying monsters that had taken up residence in the power plant. Reports indicated that all scouts sent to the area never returned. Hyung-sik emphasized the importance of the power plant and saving more lives, while Jae-rim accepted the mission and rejected any reward, suggesting that it be given to other survivors instead. After the meeting, one of the leaders expressed skepticism about Jae-rim and Izao's ability to complete their mission. However, Hyung-sik assured them that even if they failed, they would simultaneously target the large hospital they had been monitoring, so no harm would be done. As Jae-rim and Izao arrived at the power plant, they were met with resistance from ghouls that utilized electricity as their weapon. Jae-rim struggled to defend himself against the electrical assaults until Izao created a protective barrier. Despite the barrier, Izao still suffered from the ghouls' attacks. Jae-rim had no choice but to use his newly acquired magical girl skill, using his wand to grant himself electrical resistance and easily dispatching the ghouls. Izao was amazed at his newfound ability. When another ghoul attempted to strike Jae-rim with lightning, it had no effect on him, and he swiftly eliminated the threat. "Guys, you won't believe what happened next," so Izao was like, "Jae-rim, spill the tea on your magical girl skills." And Jae-rim was all like, "Girl, all awakeners can do it, and that's how I got my wand." And then Izao was like, "Wait, can I do it too?" And Jae-rim was like, "Only if you did the required pose earlier." Guys, can you believe this? But when Izao tried the pose, Jae-rim totally pranked her and said he was joking. And guys, she was so mad she gave him a beatdown. Back to the recap. Jae-rim responded by giving her a lightning resistance buff and a healing medicine buff to aid in her recovery. He then produced drinks that could increase their stamina and concentration by 10% for 1 hour, and they continued on to defeat more ghouls. Izao wondered if Jerem could use more magic with his wand, but he explained that he could only use one spell at a time while transformed. As they progressed further, Jerem became suspicious that stronger monsters might be present as none of the scouts had returned. Soon enough, they encountered a giant ghoul that attacked them with an electric beam. Jerem used his wooden construction skill to block the attack, but they still suffered minor burns to their hair. The ghoul charged at them, but they evaded it and Jerem wrapped his chain around its neck while Izao delivered a powerful kick to its face. The ghoul fell onto the wooden spikes created by Jerem. The massive ghoul signaled to the other ghouls in the vicinity to attack. Jerem used his chain to defeat the ghouls, while Izao dealt the final blow to the enormous ghoul. The SHIELD agent who was observing them was surprised and immediately reported the incident to headquarters. Hyung-sik was satisfied with their performance and planned to utilize Jerem and Izao's skills to help him become the second in command of SHIELD. Jerem and Izao caught up with the agent and invited him to dine with them. Meanwhile, Hyung-sik wondered if Jerem and Izao had utilized their full capabilities during the fight with the giant ghoul, making him question if they were even stronger than he had originally assumed. He inquired about the hospital mission and was informed that it was progressing well. Hyung-sik believed that if the mission succeeded, he could swiftly advance to a higher position in the organization. One of the SHIELD teams received news that Squad 2 was battling enemies on the 13th floor and required backup. The team leader quickly directed their group to the designated floor. As they arrived, they could hear the voice of the Squad 2 leader. However, upon entering the room, they realized that the Squad 2 leader had already turned into a zombie and was lying in wait to ambush them. The members of the team were surrounded by zombified Squad 2 members, prompting their leader to order a retreat. However, they were blocked by the zombified Squad 2 leader. In a desperate move, the leader transformed into a beast to fend off the zombie. As the rest of the team was ensnared by tentacles from above, Hyung-sik grew concerned. Just then, they heard Squad 1's leader over the radio, announcing a problem and requesting additional awakeners. Hyung-sik quickly promised to send backup. It was later revealed that the Squad 2 leader was already zombified. Jerem and Izao wasted no time in responding to a distress signal from the hospital raid, where they confirmed that the request for backup had come from Hyung-sik. However, Jerem found the request suspicious and requested to speak with Hyung-sik directly. When they finally spoke, Jerem expressed doubts about the Squad 1 leader's call for weaker awakeners, as they were already weak and of no use. He had a suspicion that the message was a trap and the squad was already defeated. As they entered the hospital, Jerem worried about Izao's safety in case of any danger. To alleviate his concern, he gave her the orange magic stone to boost her strength. While climbing the floors, they encountered zombies, but Izao effortlessly defeated them with her newfound power, surprising Jerem. Upon reaching the 13th floor, they heard the voice of the squad leader. Jerem was certain it was a trap, but Izao suggested they destroy the entire place if it was. Jerem used his magical girl skill to pour oil in the room and set it on fire, using his wooden construction skill to block the exit. After a while, he destroyed the blockade, and they took down the remaining monsters with ease. After the fire died down, they found an orange magic stone among the ashes and concluded it must have come from the main monster's body. They discussed the possibility of additional monsters that could mimic human voices and highlighted the need for extra caution before departing from the hospital with the bodies of the two squad leaders. Upon their return, Hyung-sik expressed his gratitude and revealed that he needed to report the incident to the higher authorities before leaving. Izao noticed a change in Hyung-sik's attitude towards them, and Jerem explained that losing two of his most powerful subordinates was likely the reason. They both saw this as an opportunity to become their replacements and enter paradise. Later, Hyung-sik returned with news that he had informed the higher-ups of their impressive performance, and the commander expressed a desire to meet them. He also mentioned that a vehicle would arrive in 2 to 3 days to take them to paradise. Izao inquired about the quality of life in paradise, to which Hyung-sik replied that things were not perfect, but there was no other place in the Republic of Korea that could recover sanctuary as quickly as paradise. As they departed, Jerem decided to prepare for his meeting with Lee Sang-kyol by enhancing his transmission skills. Jerem's mana and skeleton had been optimized for combat, and Izao noticed the change in him. A message appeared, urging Jerem to fight Izao barehanded until she was 100% satisfied in order to unlock the Joseon Heavenly Demon Martial Arts Rank D. Jerem challenged Izao to a match, which she accepted. During the fight, Izao struck Jerem with an axe kick, causing him to kneel despite his block. He surprised Izao by blocking her subsequent attack. J-Rim made an attack, but Izao easily dodged it and landed a palm strike on his body. She tried to attack again, but J-Rim grabbed both of her hands. Izao made an unexpected attack towards J-Rim's groin, which he informed her was prohibited. Izao acknowledged her defeat, and her satisfaction increased to 20%. Members of S.H.I.E.L.D. passed by and saw Izao and J-Rim together, assuming they were a couple. As they passed by a group, they overheard people gossiping about them hugging, which surprised J-Rim and angered Izao. Izao approached the group to clear up the misunderstanding, while J-Rim went to see J-Rim. He gave her a magic stone, which she used to become a magical girl. J-Rim showed off her flying skills and used magic to give J-Rim and Izao the same ability. She also revealed that she had 4 more spells in her arsenal, which amazed J-Rim. Suddenly, a giant zombie appeared, and J-Rim summoned a golem to fight it. The two creatures exchanged blows, but J-Rim buffed the golem's strength, enabling it to easily overpower and defeat the zombie. J-Rim was relieved to see that J-Rim was more than capable of protecting herself. After their encounter, J-Rim and Izao left for Paradise, where they met Lee Sankiel. J-Rim noticed Sankiel's Dominator attribute and wondered why he had expanded his territory to such an extent. J-Rim surmised that Sankiel's skill likely gave him benefits from territorial expansion. Sankiel expressed his admiration for J-Rim and Izao. A giant snake ambushed a group from S.H.I.E.L.D., using one of their members to locate the survivor's camp before killing him. It then summoned a horde of zombies and more giant snakes, and they headed towards the camp. As Sankiel got ready to leave, he expressed his enjoyment in chatting with J-Rim and Izao and invited them to visit him whenever they wanted. Hyung-sik noticed how quickly J-Rim had gained Sankiel's trust. Sankiel instructed Hyung-sik to look after J-Rim and Izao. Hyung-sik gave J-Rim a reward from the commander, several magic stones. J-Rim thought about how useful the stones would be for the villagers. Suddenly, they received news that a massive horde of zombies was approaching the satellite village. J-Rim urgently asked for a motorbike in response. The inhabitants of the satellite village were preparing themselves for the imminent zombie horde, and the village leader was worried about J-Rim and Izao's absence. The group was getting ready for battle when J-Rim stumbled upon them and offered her assistance. She revealed that she was an awakener and had transformation and magic skills. When the horde of zombies finally arrived, the group was shocked to see 5 colossal snakes accompanying them. The group was instructed by their leader to hold their ground until reinforcements arrived from Paradise. J-Rim transformed and stopped the monsters, but the group's attacks were ineffective against the horde. To turn the tide, J-Rim conjured a powerful magical attack that halted the giant snakes. She then summoned Golem Men and empowered both them and the Awakeners to continue their assault, which briefly pushed the monsters back. Despite their efforts, the giant snakes broke through the formation and attacked J-Rim when she ran out of mana. Fortunately, J-Rim and Izao arrived just in time to help and praised J-Rim for her bravery. They recognized similarities between the giant snake and a monster in the hospital. The 5 snakes merged together and attacked. J-Rim used a blue flame dragon to bind the snake while Izao delivered an attack that smashed the snake to the ground. Although the snake quickly got back up and attacked again, it was unable to handle the onslaught of J-Rim and Izao. The snake exploded and merged with the other zombies, empowering them. However, Izao sliced through them with her kick while J-Rim destroyed the group with his chain, shocking the captain. The parts of the giant snake then reformed and attempted to escape. J-Rim and Izao gave chase to the escaping monster. Upon the arrival of Hyung-sik's squad, they informed them of the situation. However, J-Rim and Izao surprised them by revealing that they had already taken care of the monster. Meanwhile, in Paradise, the Hammer Gang, led by Kwok Dupal, had arrived and used Dupal's vehicle modification skill to crash through the gates of the satellite village. The villagers were busy repairing the damage, and J-Rim helped by using her strength to buff them. When Hyung-sik noticed her efforts, she explained that J-Rim had instructed her to help. She also revealed that J-Rim had helped her awaken her unique abilities. Hyung-sik speculated that J-Rim must have known about J-Rim's special skills. Suddenly, news arrived that the Hammer Gang had attacked Paradise. Izao asked J-Rim about the Hammer Gang, and he explained that they were a notorious group that frequently appeared in his nightmares. Known for their extreme violence and unpredictability, J-Rim remembered a nightmare in which he had protected a group from zombies, only to have the Hammer Gang arrive and run over both survivors and zombies. When he confronted Dupal, he justified it as necessary to protect his men from potential infection. Hyung-sik informed Jae-rim and Izeo about the current situation and urged them to return to paradise. They quickly hopped on their motorbike and arrived to find Dupal and Sang-kyul in combat. Utilizing his raining skill to increase his power, Sang-kyul launched an attack, but Dupal successfully blocked it. Dupal launched a fiery assault, but Sang-kyul nullified it with his enhanced power. Jae-rim swiftly intervened, putting a stop to Dupal's attack on Sang-kyul and capturing the Hammer Gang. Sang-kyul expressed his gratitude to Jae-rim and Izeo when a message suddenly appeared, offering a transferable skill. Jae-rim used his transmission skill to acquire the powerful technique, pleased with his newfound ability. Sang-kyul invited Dupal to join S.H.I.E.L.D., but Dupal refused the offer, insisting they should just kill him. Jae-rim inquired about the cause of the conflict between the two factions, and Sang-kyul revealed that S.H.I.E.L.D. had encroached on their territory, leading to a clash that resulted in casualties on both sides. Sang-kyul felt compelled to exact revenge and execute Dupal, but Jae-rim suggested that some of the Hammer Gang members possessed valuable skills and that killing them would be a waste. He proposed a 3-day period to try to convince Dupal to join S.H.I.E.L.D. In the end, Sang-kyul agreed to imprison the Hammer Gang. Jae-rim then took Izeo outside to test out his newly acquired skill from Sang-kyul. Jae-rim was taken aback by the considerable amount of mana consumed upon activating the skill. Nevertheless, he was pleased with the substantial increase in his power and decided to test it out by punching the ground, causing Izeo to jump in surprise. Jae-rim wondered how Sang-kyul had managed to use the skill so effortlessly and concluded that Sang-kyul must have used more effort and is stronger than Jae-rim had initially thought. Izeo asked about Jae-rim's plan to persuade Dupal, and Jae-rim replied that they needed to go to the Hammer Gang's base. He shared with Izeo that Dupal's granddaughter was a contract genius who might possess the ability to awaken skills. Jae-rim recalled sneaking into the Hammer Gang during his 43rd nightmare, where Dupal had shown him a picture of his granddaughter. Upon arriving at the Hammer Gang's stronghold, Jae-rim identified Seryong as having the mediator attribute using his analysis skill. He explained to Izeo that Dupal had a soft spot for her and they approached Seryong to explain the situation about her grandfather's impending execution. Jae-rim presented her with a magic stone and requested her assistance to prevent Dupal's execution. After using the magic stone, Seryong gained the mediation skill, which enabled her to mediate between contractors and insert clauses, including penalty clauses. She used the skill to create a contract with Jae-rim, stating that he must not lie to her, and if he did, Jae-rim and Izeo would return to paradise immediately. After agreeing to work under Jae-rim for a month, which relieved her worries, she accepted his invitation to accompany them to paradise for the sake of the Hammer Gang. Jae-rim needed her for a specific reason, and she was aware of it. Upon arriving, they met Dupal, who criticized them for using her granddaughter as a hostage. Jae-rim clarified that Seryong was there to assist them, and she informed Dupal that she had become an awakener through her meditation skills. Seryong then established a contract with Jae-rim and Dupal stipulating that for the next 30 minutes, Jae-rim could only speak the truth. If he lied, he would yawn twice, and both parties agreed to the terms. Jae-rim revealed his objective of demolishing S.H.I.E.L.D. and proposed an alliance, as they both shared the same goal. Although skeptical, Dupal was reminded of the contract's conditions by Seryong. Dupal inquired about Jae-rim's intentions, and he disclosed his plan to capture Lee Sang-kyul, urging Dupal to surrender to S.H.I.E.L.D. for a brief period. However, Dupal warned that Sang-kyul was much stronger than they had anticipated, citing how he had defeated him and the Hammer Gang. He had only escaped because of the sacrifices of his comrades, and Sang-kyul had exhibited only a fraction of his strength in their prior encounter. Dupal questioned Jae-rim's ability to apprehend Sang-kyul. Jae-rim acknowledged that he possessed knowledge of the future and had encouraged Seryong to awaken because he recognized her potential. When Dupal asked if it was a skill, Jae-rim denied using a skill and claimed to have numerous secrets. He also acknowledged Sang-kyul's impressive strength, which prompted Dupal to inquire about Jae-rim's name. After learning his name, Dupal agreed to ally with them. Jae-rim then revealed that he could transfer 2 skills, vehicle modification and mediation, which made him grin. Later, Jae-rim informed Sang-kyul of their successful negotiation with Dupal, earning praise for his efforts. Sang-kyul then presented a hypothetical scenario, asking if Jae-rim would sacrifice 1 life to save 10 others. Realizing it was a test, Jae-rim replied that he would make the sacrifice. Sang-kyul chuckled and invited Jae-rim to meet him at a specific location in 3 days. Jae-rim requested to bring Izeo, stating her trustworthiness. Sang-kyul agreed to his request. 3 days later, J-Rim unlocked the Josian Heavenly Demon Martial Arts Rank D. Suddenly, Sankiel summoned them to show them something. Upon arrival, Sankiel made an announcement that he was about to unveil the hope of humanity. Upon entering, they stumbled upon a group of individuals working on zombies. Sankiel clarified that they are part of the Awakeners research lab and that it was crucial for them to comprehend zombies to be prepared for the future. In another room, J-Rim recognized a person named Su Hanchiol, who was on his list of murderers. Sankiel introduced Su Hanchiol to J-Rim and Izao. J-Rim employed his analytical ability and observed that Su Hanchiol had the attributes of a mad scientist, prompting him to speculate if Su Hanchiol was responsible for creating the creatures at the hospital. Sankiel expressed his desire to reveal the new human race to J-Rim and Izao, but Hanchiol was hesitant. Sankiel reassured him that they could be trusted, and eventually, Hanchiol disclosed the new human. Using his analytical skills, J-Rim observed that these people were mutated humans. Sankiel clarified that they were his siblings who had voluntarily participated in the project. The objective was to fuse the power of mutants with human intellect. Although J-Rim approved of the plan, he knew that sacrifices must have been made to attain this level of achievement. When he inquired about the process, Hanchiol explained that it required a robust vitality to overcome rejection, which was not easy to enhance. J-Rim and Izao were stunned when they saw the root. Upon analyzing it, J-Rim discovered that it was a cell. He asked about its function, and Sankiel explained that it was a miracle that could save many lives by sacrificing a few. They presented a criminal who had robbed and murdered civilians, and the root devoured him. The root then produced a bead called the Stone of Life. According to Hanchiol, it had the potential to boost a human's vitality even more than zombies if ingested. Sankiel claimed that the Stone of Life reduced the probability of rejection when mutant blood was injected into a human. J-Rim cautioned them to keep this information confidential because it could be challenging to manage if it became public knowledge. J-Rim's suggestion pleased both Hanchiol and Sankiel. Suddenly, a message popped up, indicating that the biotechnology skill was transferable. J-Rim acquired the skill, which enabled the transplanting of cells into bodies using mana. Concerned about potential side effects of the stone, J-Rim asked Sankiel. He stated that there were no adverse effects and even shared that he had consumed it himself, promising to provide more in the future. J-Rim realized that defeating Sankiel would become increasingly difficult with time and decided to take action immediately. Sankiel then awakened the new humans and spoke to them. J-Rim activated his skills and launched an attack, killing Sankiel.